Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Inshallah ta'ala, we're going to have Q&A with the Sheikh right now. We're going to go for about 15 minutes, inshallah. And then the rest of the questions will be addressed during the seminar tomorrow and the day after. Sheikh, please. Just in case somebody still doesn't know, we have an all-day seminar tomorrow and the day after. The details can be found on the table outside. Hopefully there's a table outside with flyers. Is there one? Yes. So tomorrow's seminar begins at 10 a.m. sharp, inshallah. It'll be upstairs, 10 a.m. sharp, and it'll be upstairs. The seminar will be something that you can attend in person, and you can also attend it live online. But in order to attend live online, you do have to register for the seminar so that you can get the Zoom links and all of those details. So that is also an option that you have, and you can also attend some of it live, and some of it you can get the recordings to listen to later, inshallah ta'ala. But I don't want to take too much time here, so I'm going to give the microphone to the Sheikh. I have received a few questions, so I'm going to be asking them from the Sheikh, inshallah ta'ala. So Sheikh, while you were speaking, I received many questions actually. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do as many as we can in 15 minutes, inshallah. And the rest of them, I'm going to submit them to the Sheikh, and we'll see if he's able to address them sometime tomorrow or on Sunday throughout his presentation, inshallah ta'ala. So I'm just going to go over them one by one. The first question is, if I find out that I am receiving small amounts of interest to my bank account, would it be enough to just occasionally give sadaqah from that account that will cover those small amounts? Or do I need to contact the bank to stop depositing those small amounts into my account altogether?
None of the above actually, because if you agree with me that opening a saving account is an interest-bearing transaction, we need to know here that this is like a self-generating interest. Now, if you decide to keep that interest with the bank, or you decide to take that money and just dispose it, it doesn't make any difference because the damage is there. You are creating interest. You are creating interest by opening a saving account. You are creating interest. And this is like a kind of transaction where riba is unavoidable. Once you open a saving account, you start, the system itself automatically starts generating interest. And you are not supposed to get involved in any transaction where the riba is unavoidable. We have two different categories of haram in our deen. There's something called haramun lidhatihi, muharramun lidhatihi, tahrima maqasid, ومحرم لغير تحريم وسائل. الحرام لذاته is something that's prohibited by itself for itself. In our example, a transaction that generates interest, where interest is unavoidable. Now, al-haram لغيره, whatever is prohibited for other causes, is holding a credit card, right? You hold a credit card, you borrow money, but riba is avoidable. And that's why if there is a need for whatever is prohibited for other causes, it would be permitted. Right? But if there is a necessity behind getting involved in a transaction where riba is unavoidable, you can go for it. And there is no necessity for you to open a saving account. What is the alternative? Alternative is it depends on the reason behind opening a saving account. Do you want to make some profit? Is this the reason behind that? Set off the inflation and the 2.5% zakat that you pay every year? If that is the reason, then you can open just a mutual fund halal account and you make 10-12% net profit every year. Well, 8 to 10% net profit every year. That's alhamdulillah good enough. Okay, profitable enough and halal enough. Is the reason behind opening a saving account is to save the money where it is unsafe to keep that money at home? Well, you can open another checking account, but do not release its information. Do not use debit card or write a check from that bank account. If you have like a big chunk of money, you just save it in a checking account and have another checking account for your daily transactions. You just keep a few hundreds of dollars in your like day-to-day transaction checking account and keep the rest, like the big amount, in another checking account without releasing its information. Okay? If you do not release its information, the possibility of identity theft goes down to zero. No one can track it and tap on the money that you have there. So again, it depends on why you want to open saving account. No.
Sheikh, the next question here is, what general financial or investing advice would you give to a recent college graduate who just started a job?
Started a job or started a business?
Started a job.
I mean, what kind of funding he's looking for? I mean,
He just
if he has a job,
he's making money now for the first time in his life, right? So he's looking for ways to invest his money.
Start your retirement account as soon as possible, and pay as much as you can. Take full advantage of the match of your employer, and if you can go even like beyond the match. Like for example, if your employer pays, let's say up to 3% or 4%, do not match it with 3%. If you can pay 7% or 10% of your salary, go for it. If you are that young, whatever you invest now, after just a few years, you will see the huge difference by the amount of profit that you are making. And of course, I mean, you need to make sure that your investment in the stock market, like through the retirement account, is as Sharia compliant as possible. You can open an IRA from now, individual retirement account. You can open another like 529 for the education of your kids, like to secure the tuition fees for your kids. You can open an AGMA account whenever you have the first child. This kind of account is a tax advantage one for the kids. You start saving for your kids from now. So save as much as you can, invest in the stock market as much as you can, make sure that you make the right decision by investing in a halal way. We do have some ways to navigate through the system and to make sure that your investment in the stock market is as Sharia compliant as possible.
Jazakumullah khair. Next question. Do you have any advice for young professionals who would like to finance a home without using a mortgage?
They're going to stay forever until they save the money. It's not that easy. It's not that easy. The most Sharia compliant option for Texans here is what's called Amin Housing. Amin Housing actually is a California-based Islamic mortgage company that does not deal in the secondary market. They do not sell their contracts to Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae. So their mode of finance actually is very good. It's a Sharia compliant one. I was like their advisor or their Sharia consultant a while ago, along with Sheikh Salah Hassan and Sheikh Jamal Zarabozo. They asked us the three to sit together and to check their contracts. That was maybe 12, 15 years ago, Allah Alam. So we found out that they do have some minor mistakes and glitches in the contract. We advised them to fix them, and they did. And that's why if you go to our fiqh council, to AMJA online, maybe you can just Google it, AMJA Islamic Mortgage Companies. You will read like a full declaration in both Arabic and English about those 5 or 6 different Islamic mortgage companies in the US. Back to the question, for like Texan young professionals, I think Amin Housing is a very good option for you to finance your house. If Amin Housing is not available for whatever reason, then you can go with Guidance Residential. And as the Sheikh said, okay, I need to make that disclaimer again, that I have nothing to do with Guidance Residential. I'm not double agent. I work for only Guidance College. Guidance College that I represent actually is a college, is a university. It's an academic institute that awards degrees. Guidance Residential is a mortgage company. So Guidance Residential, according to AMJA, is a reasonable option for financing homes. No.
Jazakallah khairan. Next question here, Sheikh. I think you probably answered it already, but it says, can we use credit card if you are sure you will not miss the due date ever?
Yes, make sure that you do not use it for cash withdrawal. And again, you need to double check with your bank. If they charge you interest on any international transaction, like when you purchase some items from Pakistan, from Jordan, from Saudi Arabia, if that is the case and they charge you interest on top of the wire transfer fees, on top of the currency exchange fees, they charge you interest, then you need to avoid using that particular credit card for international transaction. Otherwise, I mean, you can use it because this is one of, well, this is maybe the only way for you to build your own like credit scores.
The next question is related to this, Sheikh. It says, even if we pay the credit card payments on time and avoid paying the interest, we sign an agreement when applying the card that says, I agree to pay so-and-so interest. Wouldn't that be haram as we are somehow involving in the agreement?
That's a very good question. This is haramun لغيره تحريم وسائل. Signing an agreement is prohibited for other causes because once you sign, you expose yourself to paying interest. But signing an agreement and holding credit card does not mean that you are involving yourself in paying interest. Interest is avoidable, right? So the default rule is that it's not allowed, but because of the public and general need for using credit card, okay, it is permissible to use it as long as you know how to use the credit card without paying interest, as a kind of exception, if you wish.
The next question here says, my question is about zakat on 401k accounts. Is zakat due on the whole amount every year, keeping in mind taxes and penalty if one has to withdraw to pay zakat?
We have like 3 different schools here when it comes to paying zakat on a retirement account. One of them actually goes with no zakat whatsoever on any retirement account, because this is like untouchable amount or investment, long-term investment. So you wait until the age of retirement, or Allah forbids if something happened and you had full access to your account, disability, death, and then your family members inherited that money, then they have to start paying zakah on it. This is one opinion. And the other one, which is the other extreme opinion, which is you have to pay zakah on all what you have in your retirement account. So those are like 2 different contradicting opinions. Our position as a fiqh council, as AMJA, the Assembly of Muslim Jurists of America, we believe otherwise. We believe that whatever you have an access to, you need to pay zakah on. So there's a very simple formula here. Every single year, like if you pay your zakah in the month of Ramadan, find out how much you have in your retirement account, right? And how much is the withdrawable or the accessible amount. Like for example, if you just hypothetical, if you decide to withdraw as much as you can for any humanitarian issue or hardship, sometimes they call it application, if the investment company gives you an access to, let's say 50% of your account, right? And your investment is $1 million straight, just to keep it simple. So the withdrawable amount is how much? $500,000, right? $500,000 is not the take-home amount. This is the withdrawable amount. If you decide to proceed, you will be penalized, you will be charged interest, processing fees, tax. You do the math, you find out how much is the net amount or the take-home amount, and you pay zakah on it based on 2.5% zakat rate. And if you decide to pay your zakah in the month of December for tax, like income tax filing purposes, that would be fine, but you need to adjust the zakat rate. Instead of 2.5, it has to be 2.575 to accommodate the 10 days difference between the lunar calendar and the Gregorian calendar. If you want to do yourself a favor, make it just 3% straight, and whatever extra will be, inshallah, counted as sadaqah. Yeah.
Inshallah, we'll go for 4 more minutes. Next question is, which one is most important or fard for me to pay off my interest-bearing loan first, or perform Hajj first? So he has an interest-bearing loan. Is it more important for him to pay that off first, or to perform Hajj first?
Well, both actually. You can, if it is an interest-bearing loan, let's go with the most explicit example, which is mortgaging a house, right? Okay, as long as you are able to pay the monthly payment for the mortgage company, this should not actually stop you from performing Hajj. You just secure the $2,000 or $3,000 monthly payment to the mortgage company, and you go for Hajj. But you cannot take that as an excuse to stay like 20 or 30 years no Hajj because you are in debt. I mean, this is a illegitimate excuse. Just make sure that you secure the monthly payment and save some money for Hajj and go for Hajj.
Next question says, all Islamic finance companies sell the loan to the government. That means all loan transfers to interest-bearing government fund. After knowing this fact, can I still go with Islamic finance system? Is this permissible?
I would assume that whatever he or she mentioned, the question is correct. Although, with all due respect, it is not. It is not. Let's just for discussion purposes. Let's say that you agree with me that Guidance Residential's mode of finance is reasonable enough, is halal enough, and that they do own certain percentage of the equity of that house. Okay, what is wrong with Guidance Residential selling their share, 70–80% more or less, to Freddie Mac or Freddie Mae? They are not selling a loan. They are selling their share or percentage or equity, okay, to a third party. What is wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. Bear in mind that Guidance Residential is the only company that operates as an investment company, not as a bank, as opposed to La Riba or Nijara Loan and Devon Bank, what else, University Islamic Financial. All these different companies are banks. Maybe another exception, which is Ijara Loan. Ijara Loan is just a broker, it's not a bank to start with. So even with the assumption that the question is correct and accurate, you are not responsible for the source of funding of the mortgage company. You are not. The only thing that you need to worry about is the permissibility and the soundness of the deal that you sign with the mortgage company. Whatever they do behind the scene, that's between them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just make sure that the musharaka or the murabah or the ijara is sound enough, genuine, permissible, approved by reputable scholar or scholars or at least a fiqh council, and just go for it. Whatever they do after that, they go to the secondary market, they sell the contract, they deal with interest, that is beyond your responsibility. Very good evidence for that is that the Prophet ﷺ used to transact with the Jewish community in Al-Madinah. Is that correct? And it is well known that the Jews actually used to and still dealing with interest. It was never ever reported that the Prophet ﷺ stopped any deal with any Jewish guy in Medina until he asked him, "Oh, where did you get your money from? Is it riba? Is it haram? Is it halal?" It never happened. Just to make it clear that as long as the deal or the transaction or the partnership, okay, is genuine, sound, permissible, you are not responsible for the source of funding or source of money the other party actually is having. No.
Jazakallahu khairan, Sheikh. We're going to stop here, inshallah ta'ala. Once again, if you are interested in this topic, there's a lot more to talk about all of these topics that Sheikh talked about in the talk. There's more to mention, and he kept saying that this is 101. We'll talk about the details tomorrow. So please come to the seminar tomorrow. Once again, it starts at 10 a.m. sharp. And if you cannot come in person, you can watch it live over Zoom, but you do need to register by using the link on the flyer outside. Inshallah ta'ala, hope to see you all tomorrow and the day after as well. Jazakumullahu khairan. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk.
Jazakallah.